Well, bouncing back from that Game 1 loss, I thought Meralco totally turned up the energy in this game. They made it a way more physical game than it was in the first game, as evidenced by the shooting percentage of SMB. They shot in the 50s in the first game. Into this game, now they shot in the 30s. That's a big difference, and I think the difference was because of Meralco's energy.
When I looked at this team, they led by as much as 17 points. And, we were talking a bit before this. It felt like a closer game than the score would suggest. But I personally was surprised that Cliff Hodge ended up with 17. We saw him heat up in the Ginebra series. And now here he is doing it against a San Miguel team that is arguably, matchup-wise, you look on paper, might be tougher for Meralco. What do you make of the fact that he's been doing it all here for Meralco?
Well, Cliff is a vet. He's been there, he's done that. And as you saw to start the game, 6 points quick, and it was just all hustle.
Yeah.
He get the defensive rebound, and he's pushing the ball. We know that SMB is a half-court team.
Yeah.
They want to set it up, and they're not very good in transition defense. So if you can beat them down the court, they're very, very big. They got all those bigs. You want to beat them down the court, and that is what Cliff does.
Just to emphasize how well he played, he shot 17 points off 53% shooting and ended up with 14 rebounds to go alongside that.
That's crazy. Coach, I want to pick your brains as a coach, right, in the PBA. How important is it for the bench guys, the role players to step up? You'll never know who's going to step up, but for Meralco, it was Raymar Jose that stepped up for them, and it really worked. You wouldn't expect that for the same game from him in the next one, but how important are the bench guys here in a 7-game series, Coach?
Well, just speaking of Meralco, that's huge, because if you see, again, we're going back to SMB, they got 2 starting lineups on their team.
Yeah.
Right? So they dig into their bench. They got guys that have been starters on other teams. So it's so important for Meralco to have somebody like a Raymar Jose step up and produce. And I'm not even talking about the points that he scored, 13, 10 in the fourth. I'm talking about the activity, the energy, the physical play, because you saw Junmar in that second half constantly getting a defensive rebound and pounding the ball. That's frustration right there.
You look at this San Miguel team, and now it's up to them to make the adjustments and going into game number 3. What are the most obvious adjustments that you feel need to be addressed moving on?
For SMB, just put the ball in the basket. They're gonna no.
That's simple.
Hey, real talk. They're gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
They've done it every single conference. They're gonna bring the ball down. They're gonna dump it into Junmar. You got CJ Perez cutting off the weak side, and you got your shooters. They're gonna do the same thing. It's not gonna change. They're just gonna have to make shots. CJ was getting to the basket. He was getting his shots at the basket, 17 attempts. He just needs to do a better job finishing like he did in the first game.
So now let's move on to the other series. It's still ongoing at the moment, TNT and Magnolia. Right now, 58-52 in favor of the Magnolia Hotshots. And you look at this series in particular, the question was, how are you going to stop a guy like Mikey Williams? Our Pogoy is doing such a great job as well. In fact, these two were 2 players to watch out for that you listed down here for TNT in this series. How incredible have they been?
Speaking of Mikey Williams, he's fantastic. With 20 plus points in the first game. Just step back jumpers, shooting from Curry range, just phenomenal. And then, Pogoy, he's going to be that consistent presence there offensively and defensively. So if I'm Magnolia, I want to be extra physical, and that's their trademark. Be physical with Mikey Williams. Keep on bumping him, keep on pressuring him. Tire him out.
And those 2 players, they're the number 1 and number 2 scorers for TNT. So obviously they're gonna get that ball in the bucket. But let's talk about the other team, Magnolia. You want to talk about Calvin Abueva? How important is he to this Magnolia team to get wins in this series?
Oh, Calvin, my guy. He does a little bit of everything on the court. He'll score. He'll get rebounds, offensive rebounds, play defense. But the biggest thing, similar to what Cliff Hodge does, is his energy.
Yeah.
He's that emotional barometer of his team. If he has the energy, the positive energy for his team, he can bring his team so far.
And he's one of those guys that once he steps on the floor, if you're playing against him, you're going to physically feel him. There is no way that you are not going to feel his presence on the floor, for better or for worse. Now, let's go back on the other series. You actually highlighted 4 players here. We'll start off with Meralco. We talked about Chris Newsome in the past. We talked about Alamin Maliksi. Those are 2 guys you highlighted. Why them in particular in the series?
Okay, if you look at game 1, Maliksi 2 points.
Yeah.
Right? Shooters shoot. Okay? For him to contribute to his team, it's going to be with putting the ball in the basket. Newsome, he's the court general of that team.
Yeah.
He's not a traditional point guard, but he handles the ball so much, and he does a little bit of everything. He'll get you buckets. He'll get you rebounds. He'll get you assists. Game 2, he did all of that. He filled up the stat sheet, 5 assists, got you 9 defensive rebounds. Going to the basket, getting buckets. He had that buzzer beater to end the half. I mean, he was just all over the place.
And let's talk about the other team, SMB. We talked about Junmar a bit earlier. I mean, he's on a different level this conference.
Yes.
He's in great shape. And also, CJ
scary.
Perez. Sometimes I think, fans and the followers see CJ Perez as, he's the young and next guy for SMB. But honestly, I think he's the guy now for SMB also, apart from Junmar.
CJ's been the now since he entered the league. This guy is just amazing. You see him on the court. So fast, so strong, finished through contact. Game 2, he wasn't able to do that. Shot a low percentage, shot in the 30s. Junmar, you can't stop him. You can only hope that he's going to miss his layups. And what you saw from Meralco with Junmar was they swarmed him.
Yeah.
They hit him. Nothing dirty, just extra physical. We started with Cal Pascual. 0 points, 6 fouls, but ultra physical. Then you have guys coming off the bench, Raymond Almazan, Jose got on him, Hodge got on him. But that low percentage of CJ Perez was so huge in helping Meralco win that game.